Yeah, let me get one. I see that. Y'all can sit up. I got you. Play that. Get up there and get hurt and
organizing our reunion for this year, and he is going to introduce our guest for us.
Good evening or afternoon, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful time today, and it is my honor to introduce our esteemed individual guest today. We have Mr. Steve Penn. He's from KPRT and also a Sumner alumni.
All right.
And our wonderful classmates, Mr. Stephen McKinley Henderson. Let's call him Bono. And then, of course, Mr. Preston Holmes. And Mr. Penn will be our moderator today, and I'll turn it over to your capable hands.
Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. This wonderful Saturday morning. I'm Steve Penn. I'm a former columnist at the Kansas City Star. I am honored today to be with two distinguished gentlemen. First is Mr. Stephen McKinley Henderson.
Mr. President.
He is. This was from a Bob Butler article in the Kansas City Star. Henderson's acting career stretches from the streets of Kansas City, Kansas, to Broadway, to academia, and to the silver screen, where he can be seen this award season in two highly acclaimed films. In Manchester by the Sea, he played the manager of a Boston apartment building dealing with a temperamental handyman played by Oscar contender Casey Affleck. In Fences, which I'm sure everybody saw, which opened Christmas Day, he appeared with Denzel Washington and the lovely Viola Davis in screen versions of August Wilson's play, which won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and the Tony Award for Best Play. He said at that time, "It has been an incredible blessing to be a part of this film, and especially to have known August Wilson." I had the honor of chatting with this gentleman yesterday on my radio show on KPRT, and it was quite an honor. Henderson has appeared in 8 of 10 plays that Wilson wrote about African-American life, each one set with a different decade in the 20th century. In 2010, he played opposite Washington, Denzel, that is, and Viola Davis in a Broadway revival of Fences, and that was cast was reunited by Washington, who directed the film. weekend, Mr. Henderson played Bono. Best friend to Denzel's Troy Maxson, a former Negro Leagues baseball player and current trash collector, who resents never having had the chance to play ball in the majors. Henderson describes Troy as Bono's mentor. Troy got Bono out of prison and got him into the workforce. But while Bono is loyal to his benefactor, Denzel, he has trouble dealing with the dark side of Troy's personality, his womanizing, his arrogance, and a need to dominate those around him. Sure.
People in the back can't hear me.
Okay. And in some ways, Bono serves as Troy's conscience. Sometimes as a mentor, he has had to be reminded of the principles he has tried to instill in others. He was born in 1949. He grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, where he was the star of the acting program at Sumner High School.
I can't go along with that. Anybody know who Corey Dean was? Okay, yeah. I'm telling you, man, I know it. Fella, man. Yeah, I mean, I had some leaders. I'm telling you, these some bad boys up there. Bad boys. Candace Carruthers too. Yeah. And the miracle work. Her and what was that? She was fierce. But I had to throw that in. I was following.
I like editing. That's okay.
That's all.
That led him to appear in a production of A Raisin in the Sun at the Missouri Repertoire Theater. He was befriended by founder and artistic director of the Rep, Patricia McElrath.
Gloria Terrell in our school was working on her degree over there, Dr. Mack. She was known as the Iron Butterfly. And she built that rep company over there. But before, in the early years, before it was a rep company, she headed the theater program, and Gloria Terrell was working on her master's degree, and that's how I got to be in Raising the Sun, and that's how I got to go to Juilliard and everything. So I just want to make sure I want to put that something to focus on.
You note that you finally recall her as the Velvet Fist, who sponsored your candidacy to be a member of the first class of acting students at New York's prestigious Juilliard. From Sumner to Juilliard, Henderson became a member of Juilliard's Group 1. Among the classmates were Kevin Kline, Patti LuPone, and David Ogden Steers. For years, you've returned to Juilliard to teach a master class for acting students. I'm going to ask the question that I'm sure all the women in the audience want to know.
Denzel Washington.
I would like to ask you, what was it like working with Denzel?
All right. See, the thing is, it's impressive to work with Denzel before I did. But I've done 2 shows on Broadway with him and this one film. But the first thing comes to my mind, I have to say, he's the greatest Christian I have met in my life. He is a faith-based man and family man and loyal. You know, the reason that the cast of Fences that did it on Broadway, except for the 2 young people, because those people grew out of their roles, was 6 years later before Denzel could do the movie. But the rest of us were there because when Denzel did A Soldier Story when he was with the Negro Ensemble Company, and they made a movie of it, they got rid of some of the original members of the cast when they did the movie. And he was, just starting out in his career. But it bothered him that the people that he had done it with on stage weren't going to do the movie. And the people like Jim Pickens, y'all know Jim Pickens on what's that show? The political show. Grey's Anatomy, right. And Samuel L. Jackson, he was in the original cast. They didn't use him. So it's all these people that went on to have careers, and Denzel thought that was wrong. So he said, there ain't no way when he did this one. He said it wasn't going to happen that way this time. And that's why he was willing to direct it in order to make sure that he was faithful over those that had gone out there in the battle with him every night. Because you do a movie, you know, I've done some movies where you meet the person maybe one day, and you shoot that scene, and then you don't see him no more. And then the people go on and say, well, we did a movie together. Well, we didn't really do a movie together. We did a movie at the same time. But when you go out on the stage on Broadway, you rehearse it for a month, and you run it for 4 or 5 months. You go to work every day. You know, you take your lunch bucket, you going to work every day. And so that's when you really get to know somebody, you know. And that's how Denzel felt about it. But also, they say, this is another thing about Denzel Washington. I told this on the radio. I have to tell this because it's my favorite story. You know, when we went into the Hill District to do this movie, he would go to each door, knock on the door, and say, listen, my name is Denzel Washington. He said, yeah, we know. But he would say, I'm going to be in your community for a while, and I'm going to need you to maybe obey some rules, you know, not come out the front door when we're shooting it, you know, maybe come in and out your back door. We might have to be parking and bringing cords and stuff across the street. And they were all saying, yeah, fine. And he went each door in that neighborhood, and he went to this one door, and he said, a senior citizen come to the door, and he says, how you doing, man? My name's Denzel Washington. He said, And he said, we're going to be in your neighborhood filming this August Wilson film. And did you know August? She said, I knew August. And he said, well, now I'm going to have to ask you to do this and this and this and that. He said, fine. So he was getting ready to leave, and he said, and now if you just pray for me that I make a good movie for August. And she said, baby, I've been praying for you for 35 years. And she said, me and 2 or 3 other women in our little prayer circle, because we saw you coming up in Hollywood, and we said, you're going to have trouble out there. And so we've been praying for you. And then she said, you think you just happened to pick my street? That meant a lot to me. He came back to tell us that story, you know. But we would go into the neighborhood, and I mean, the people were there with, you know, stuff we didn't need. I mean, you know how they got a nice little craft service and stuff. We had all kind of food and everything. They had coffee for us in the morning, donuts, stuff that they made, little turnovers, homemade stuff, you know. Let's see if you needed anything. And we, you know, we'd rather accept that stuff than the other stuff. But it was just a blessed experience. And to have met August there, and to be in that neighborhood, and Denzel would come over and say, hey, Steve, man, this is some of August's family are here today. And he was going over to introduce them there, but they would say, you ain't got to introduce us to Steve, man. Shoot, we know him. You know, the place. And because I met August in Pittsburgh doing Jitney. And you know, so it was just a blessing all the way around. You know, Lorraine Hansberry, great playwright, would say, things don't just happen, things happen just. And that was a kind of feeling of working on that and meeting Denzel, because he's a very faith-based man, you know. And he can't, there's a lot of stuff he can't do, you know. He can't just walk now. We be in Broadway, you know, and he want to go out and just get a sandwich or something. He can't do that, you know. So you give up something to be all that. But he gives an awful lot. He gives an awful lot, and he got a real great soulmate. His partner, she's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I knew her earlier in her life. We went to a school together. So years later, the other blessing on me is when their son decided he wanted to go into acting after he played football, John David, and he was doing a show that I had done years ago in school. And so Pauletta told me and said, you know, you need to work with Steve on this. And then Denzel came to me and said, yeah, man, help him out with that, because, you know, when you have your own child, they don't listen to you like that. They listen to somebody else. And so I was able to do a little coaching with him. And Denzel said, well, what you think, man? What you think? I said, he got something, man. He got something. He really said so. I said, you got to go and see him. Go and see him do this. So he went, and I wasn't even there that day. We were doing a show on Broadway. I saw him later that evening. He said, man, he got some fire. He got some juice, man. I said, yeah, you do. You know, it was just to see that proud parent in him. And he's got a daughter that also works on the set. She's going to be a producer you know.
She worked with Will.
Does she, man?
Transformation.
Yeah, oh, yeah, man, whatever. Yeah, and, so, it's just, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. I can talk forever about him. And, yeah, he's a great person. And, last time I talked with him, he said, you know, man, we gotta do all these for HBO, you know, and, you know, you've been in a few of them. And I said, listen, man, to do the first one out the box with him, you know, I said, I have my fun if I don't get well no more. You know what I'm saying? And if he called, you know, his name, rank, and serial number, the time he called. But there's a lot of actors working, say, man, I want to get in there. How can I get in there? You just got to stay on the path. You know, that's all I can tell you. The career you seek may elude you, but the craft you seek is in your hand. And so if you keep on waking up when the sun rises, you get your palette and you get your colors there, and you keep on trying to paint that sunrise, you'll be a painter. You'll be a painter. I did not leave Kansas City to become a star. That was never my intention. I wanted to be an actor. And I wanted to be an actor wherever they were doing dramatic literature. I wanted to serve dramatic literature. I read poems and I read this literature and I said, there's messages in this for humanity. There's something in this. And so I did it in St. Louis. I did it in Denver. I did it in Little Rock. I did it, you know, wherever a chance to do acting was, I went and did it for many years. And then after several years, you know, it takes, one of the great acting teachers said, it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. And if you're African American, it takes 40 years. But there are no overnight successes, really. And time go long and they come around, and I got a chance to work with Spielberg and Daniel Day and Viola and Denzel and some of the, you know, people in the craft, working on Tower Heights, working with those people like Alan Alda, who come to me and say, oh man, I know you, I've seen a play you did, such and such a place, and it's know that all these folks along the way have been in the audience